my beautiful Aquarius friends, and welcome to your horoscope for 2023, where Aquarius, as we're rolling into 2023, a couple things come to mind for me. First of all, we're not rolling in with any kind of real speed, okay? Like if there is a signature for energy that says, come in, but come in slowly, we have definitely got that with both Mercury and Mars being retrograde. But also, I do feel like there's a real acceptance and culmination happening for you in 2023. We're going to see Saturn leaving your sign. We're going to see Pluto taking a step to peek into your sign. And all of these things, Aquarius, feel like a real refocusing for you around taking your seat at the table. Like it almost feels to me like there's been a generational shift, or there's been an energetic shift or something like that. And it is your turn to be stepping up into that next role and starting to see how you serve and how you function. It's a really interesting energy. Now, for some of you, that could be flat out in the home zone around your family structures, right? It could absolutely be that. For some of you, it will be that you're moving your structures in some way, shape, or form. But whatever it is, there's a new set of footing, a new foundation under you. And I think you're really getting a grasp this year on how to work with it. Now, one of the things I want to bring your attention to, first of all, in this video, a little housekeeping, is that we will cover absolutely all of the retrogrades and all of the transits in much more detail in the weekly and the monthly reports. So make sure you're following me. And if you're like, Stormie, I need it every day, then come and join me over on Instagram, where I've got daily posts letting you know about the energies that are traveling through the sky all year long, okay? In this video, we're going to take a high-level overview of the big shifting energies, which really we see through the lens of a lot of the outer planets that are going to create change and waves of change for you, Aquarius, in your world. Now, I also want you to start this video by flashing back with me to January of 2022. Because we're back in a signature. We had Venus retrograde in Capricorn in the beginning, in January of 2022. So now as we're coming into January of 2023, we've got Mercury retrograde here in Capricorn. So as you're looking back at that 2022 timeframe, what were you reevaluating the worth of? Where were you understanding the dynamics of attracting ease and love and a spiritual energy into your life in this very Capricorn 12th house way? What were you working on behind the scenes, right? What was going on in your spiritual, metaphysical life? What were you researching, writing? Was there an addiction or an illness or a specialized population you were dealing with? And this means, were you dealing with people who are the elderly, babies? Maybe someone has a mental illness or challenge to them. What were you dealing with at that time that really was bringing a lot of revaluing to your table? Because as we find ourselves in this Mercury retrograde in Capricorn at the beginning of January 2023, we see you rethinking that, reevaluating that. But instead of the Mercury retrogrades happening this year in the energy of air, where we're thinking about it, information's coming here, we're changing our minds. This year, the Mercury retrogrades are going to be happening in earth energies. So now you're not just thinking about what was happening. Now it's time to make it tangible. You touch it, material, earth signs, right? Like earth signs live in the material plane. So what are you getting your hands and your fingers on in this 12th house space that you're working on behind the scenes, that as the year moves on, as Pluto moves into your sign, we're going to see you really actualize this new role or this new presence. So let me know what that's looking like for you as you're coming into 2023, okay, Aquarius? Now, we've also got Mars retrograde, and Mars is retrograde in the energy of Gemini, lighting up your 5th house space. So this is about a space of children, joy, play, romance, self-expression, beginnings, right? Conception of things. So whether it's conceptions of babies, maybe it's an adoption, or it's a conception of a business idea or a fresh start, whatever it is, you're taking a risk with this Mars retrograde in the energy of Gemini. But instead of launching out and taking this risk, remember, we're slowed down right now. We need to take it a little bit more slow and look at your strategy in this area. So is it a time for you where you're looking at what is going on with your children or around children figures in your life? Are you, as a child, looking back at your parents or having an interaction with your parents where maybe you're having to be of service to them in some way? You know, we talked a lot about maybe taking your seat at the table. Are you realizing this is my unique way that I rise and I come to my seat at the table? You know, is there something going on in your romantic life? Whatever it is, Mars wants you to re-look at the strategy that you are using, what actions you are taking to actualize and manifest this particular area, and make sure that they are sound actions. They are in alignment with take you in the direction that you really want to go. Now we're going to see Mercury and Mars come out of retrograde the 12th and the 18th of January, and then energies can start to move forward a bit, okay? Now, when we get to March, we're going to see our first significant outer planet movement, and that is going to be Saturn moving out of your sign. You have survived it. You have been refined. Where you felt restricted or you felt immature, Saturn has raised you to this next level, right? It has really refined your vibration. And Saturn is also the keeper of time. So this is why I say, Aquarius, whatever it is for you, I think there has been a stepping up for you, right? You are a part of the cycle of time. So there's been a progressing or a moving on, okay? Now, as we see Saturn getting out of your sign and moving into the energy of Pisces, now we're going to light up your second house energy, okay? So Saturn here in the energy of your second house, first of all, is about bringing your attention, your maturity, leveling up, or getting you really organized. You can think about it in that way around your finances, how you make money, right? Actually, your income, the money that you have, your savings, but also your self-worth. How are you valuing yourself so that when you go out, you are making what you are worth? How are you valuing yourself so that in the space of relationships, you can release what everybody else is thinking because you're feeling pretty good about who you are, right? So there's a lot of this second house energy that is going to be called to your table to really, really get refined. And I do want to say this as a side note. Aquarius, if you are at a place in your life as Saturn is traveling through Pisces, where you need to ask for that raise or you need to work in a way where you're ready to have that raise or that advancement, I would highly encourage you to make sure you have your ducks in a row to make that request, okay? It's a great time for that to happen. Or if you're saving for retirement or something like that. Now, as Saturn moves into this Piscean arena, it's also going to be moving into the space where Neptune is in Pisces. Interesting dynamic, right? Because Neptune wants to dissolve things and Saturn wants to create a structure. So as these two are working together here, in this vibration, one of the things you can think of or I can draw to your attention for you to consider is that Neptune is the intangible vision. It's the ideal that you have for yourself. You know, this is the dream I have for my life. This is what I dream and I want to manifest into my life in a financial or an asset valued kind of way. But it's not tangible. It's just the dream. It's just the vision. You know, if you follow me on this channel, you know, I say all the time when we're dealing with Neptune, you know, before a chair was a chair, it was just a vision. And now we got chairs everywhere, right? But those chairs had to be turned from the intangible idea into the vision. And this is where Saturn and Neptune can work well together because Saturn wants to crystallize things. It wants to really give it structure, give it soundness. So the dream, the vision, the structure that you have wanted around your financial life, around your assets, around what you have to give, the value of yourself and your relationships, this is a place where Saturn is showing up in spades to help actualize this particular area of your life. So I would be looking quite seriously at what effects this is going to have, you know, what effects is this going to have on your job, and going ahead and asking for that raise because you're like, you know what? I do realize this is the direction I want to go and I get to participate in moving it forward. What is this going to have on even the kind of job that you want to do where you're like, I really don't want to be in the hustle and flow anymore, or quite to the other way, right? Because there's nothing wrong with the hustle and flow, but you might be going, I want to hustle a little bit harder here, right? So whatever it is that you've had here around this idea of a limitation blocking you from the dream, I think Saturn shows up to help you actualize this. Now, as we get to the 20th of the month, we're going to begin our eclipse cycle, okay? And we're moving this year from that Taurus Scorpio axis, although we're not done with it, into the Aries and Libra axes. So on April 20th, we are going to have our first eclipse, and it's a solar eclipse at 29 degrees of Aries, lighting up your third house space. Now, this is the house of communication. This is the house of education, siblings, neighbors, contracts, writing, learning things. Think short distance travel if you're looking at what the travel signature is for the year, short distance travel. But ultimately, Aquarius, this is really a signature of how you communicate and how your mind works, okay? So for you, this is a new moon solar eclipse. So you might be planting your seeds of intention to begin something new here, to, have a voice and use your voice in a way that feels like you're a little bit more certain, and you would like to, you want to use your big kid voice now, right? You know what I mean? You want to teach something, you want to take on something. It's important to you now. There can be plans of purchasing, buying, or moving towards something that you have to sign an agreement or a contract to take on. I do think there's plenty of space here in the third house for learning as well. And whether that's that you're going back to school and you're learning a particular skill, or you're just learning actually how your phone or how YouTube works. What are the electronic components? You're in Aquarius. What are the electronic components that you are learning about? On May 5th, we're going to have a lunar eclipse in the energy of Scorpio, and this is going to light up your 10th house space. Now, this is nothing new, and it's 14 degrees of Scorpio. So this is nothing new because we have been working in the Scorpio and Taurus axes for a while here. So as we're having this particular eclipse, it's asking us to end something, acknowledge something, or to make an adjustment of some variety. So around this career again, around, time, right? Releasing your youth or releasing that previous position to rise to a new position, ambition. I also do think truly I would look a little bit at the parents in your life as well, because authority figures or people who maybe have a position of authority in your life, or they have strong influence. Now, other things happening in that 10th house are the title that we call you in public. So do we call you mom? Do we call you grandpa? Do we call you community operations liaison? Do we call you married, not married, working, self-employed, retired? What is your public title that we call you? Because we can definitely see some changes happening here as well. Along the way of these Scorpionic changes, I would really love for you to bring in an element of celebration for how you have changed in this particular area throughout 2022, okay? On October 14th, we're going to have a solar eclipse that's going to take us into 21 degrees of Libra, and this is your 9th house. Publishing, marketing, broadcasting, teaching, international travel. So now you can think longer, like I'm jumping an ocean to be able to go. Import, export, any of these kinds of things that allow you to expand out, learning or sharing stories, celebrations, rituals, any of these kinds of things. Legal situations will fall in here as well. So this is a solar eclipse, a chance to plant your seeds of intention again to where you would like to expand. Now, it is kind of interesting because there is this sense to me, and you'll have to let me know as we get here, of course, but it's almost like, okay, we planned for this trip at the beginning of the year to take it around the eclipse, and there's a delay. There's some kind of delay that happens, or it's like, oh, the wheel fell off the bus, we just can't go. But it could be something really surprising. So please let me know what that is, because it's almost like, wait a minute, this is not the perfect time for a travel situation. So you might have to balance in that area, or you might, it's like you get your plane is delayed at the airport, and then you make contact with some people who are around you, and it's the best conversation that you've had in a long time, and it really informs you about a different way you could be growing in your job, or you could be growing in a way that you'd like to expand, or maybe it's a new philosophy that comes into you. Whatever it is, make space around that particular eclipse, okay? The final eclipse of the year is going to be on October 18th at 5 degrees of Taurus, lighting up your fourth house space, home, family, real estate, property. So we're going to have the evaluation of this particular area. Parents, your children, the actual state of being in your house. But also, this lunar eclipse to me, with Jupiter being here, Uranus being here, is a chance for you to remember that a new direction is coming into play in your life, for absolutely sure. And it can be a space and a time where if you let life, if you make space for life, Aquarius, to surprise and delight you, or to course correct you in ways that you maybe don't understand right away, and then you get to see the ultimate benefit of it, if you can stay flexible and open-minded in it, I think that you find support and encouragement and in value in the transitions that are happening for you as you're going throughout this year. Now, speaking of Jupiter moving into the energy of Taurus, let's back up for just 1 minute and talk about that transit as well. So Jupiter is going to start out the year in Aries, and it is going to whip through there. I'm telling you, it is just flying through this Aries energy. So your third house, very busy, lots of talking, lots of communication, making plans. The neurological system of your body may be greatly enhanced. You can have just the systems, the networks, the people in your life could be very busy. You could have lots of information going on, okay? And then we're going to see Jupiter on May 17th slide into the energy of Taurus. So now we're going to go back and expand this fourth house area. So truly, the sense of either being a teacher or bringing in a teacher to your fourth house area, this is an opportunity for you to demonstrate wisdom, or to demonstrate as well. Sometimes we get wisdom by not having any, right? Where it's like, whoop, I had to have an experience so that I could gain that wisdom. But everything I think this year is genuinely pointed, Aquarius, to taking that step up. Now, Jupiter is a planet that likes to move. It likes to travel. It likes to expand. Taurus doesn't always want to be uprooted. But if there is an opportunity to travel for beauty, or to travel for something that feels luxurious and valuable and connecting with the relationships in your life, this may be something that you see yourself taking on while Jupiter is traveling through this transit of Taurus as well. Now, I want to call your attention again, just one more time, to the fact that we will review all of the retrogrades, all of the transits as we travel all year long. But remember that these Mercury retrogrades are in Earth signs this year. So it is very important for you to bring the ideas out of your head and onto the Earth. So we'll talk about all of those as we get closer to them, okay? All right, my beautiful Aquarians, I hope you have a great year. I look forward to seeing what you're rising to and what you're taking your seat at the next, the table of the next generation, and what your impact and your influence in that is going to be. So let me know in the comment section down below. Bye, my beautiful friends.